Hey everyone, welcome to Wax Pack Wisdom, where we talk baseball history through card breaks and the cards we love. My name is Jake T. O'Donnell. Today, we're opening this pack of 1982 Fleer, and we're going to see what's inside. This was, Fleer making their great entrance in 81 into the baseball card market, breaking back in. There were some Fleer sets in the late 50s and early 60s. And as you can see, 1981 Fleer, which is definitely a great set, was rated number 1 by Baseball Hobby News. So there's a sticker in here. We'll see what the sticker is. This set contains a Cal Ripken Jr. rookie card. We know a thing or two about that on this channel. Also, Lee Smith's rookie card is in this set too, not to be forgotten, one of the great closers in history, a Hall of Famer. So let's get right into it and see what we find in this pack of 82 Fleer. All right, so the first card is a pretty nice Astros sticker, I gotta say. They were a good team in 81. In 1980, they were in the NLCS. I believe that was a 7-game series that they lost to the Phillies. Nolan Ryan definitely had moved over from the Angels and was a big part of that crew. So, and they were the second half Western Division champs in 81. Let's continue to get through this. I can explain a little bit more about what that second half Western Division winners, why that was the case in 1981. But let's keep going through some of the cards here. Here is Tim Wallach. He's listed as an outfielder here with the Expos, but he was mostly, I think of him as being a third baseman, and I think this might be a Tim Wallach rookie card. You can see the great mustache there on Tim Wallach, who spent quite a few years with the Expos. He was with the Dodgers as well years later. I think he spent some time with the Angels as well. A really terrific hitter. I don't know that he ever won a batting title, but he probably got pretty close a couple of times. A really nice player, and I got to, I recall the last few years of his career. He was not a, he was not a superstar by any means, but I think he probably was on a few All-Star teams and was a pretty good player for quite a few years for the Expos. The next is another really good pitcher, Bob Welch. Longtime pitcher with the Dodgers as well, I believe, as the A's. I think one season he won 27 games. Back when that was a statistic that people did really care about. You can see here a few years at this point already with the Dodgers, was on their team that went to the World Series in 1978. They lost to the Yankees. Of course, 81 though, they win the World Series against the Yankees, and he is part of that team. Fernando Valenzuela, others. So let me talk a little bit about what happened in 1981. 1981 was a strike that happened in the middle of the season. There was a labor stoppage. The players' union went on strike. It was, I believe, the first time they actually went on strike. After many years, Marvin Miller was the head of the Players Association still at that point, and it lasted for almost 2 months, and it was during the season. It was resolved. What Major League Baseball decided to do was to basically split the season in 2 halves. So there was roughly, I think, 55 games in each half, because if they missed about 50 days. So I don't know the exact number of games that were played that year, but I would say somewhere, it was off the top of my head, but it was somewhere in the 110, 105, 110, 115 range. And the Major League Baseball decided to award division championships based on each half. And those teams ended up playing each other in what was the first ever divisional series. So you see Bob Welch here. The Dodgers were one of the division champions. What's really interesting is that the Cincinnati Reds in 1981 had the best record in the National League, but they did not win either half. Just if you added it up, and I assume that they were in the Eastern Division. I'm not positive about that in the National League. If you added it up, they were not good enough to win either of the halves, so they did not make the playoffs, even though they had the best record in the National League that year. Really fascinating thing. That was a result of that. But anyway, that's 1981 in baseball, and that's Bob Welch. Let's keep moving here. There's Dickie Thon, who was a shortstop for many years in Major League Baseball. He was, I think, he spent some time with the Phillies in addition here to the Astros. This would be relatively early in his career. And look at the weird logo there. Ooh, it's trippy. There's Barry Bonnell of the Blue Jays. Again, the cards in this pack are seem to be a little bit off center, but they are very nice cards. No question about that. There is Barry Bonnell. The Blue Jays sometimes still wear those uniforms, and as you can see here, a few years with the Braves for Barry Bonnell before he went to the Blue Jays. There's Biff Pocoroba. I can't say I know a lot about Biff. He was a catcher, I'm going to guess probably a backup catcher. Looks like a few years with the Braves, though, quite a few years, and maybe a few after that. If folks in the comments know a thing or two about Biff, please let us know. We'd love to hear it. There is Gene Richard from the Padres. Again, love those Padres uniforms. This would be in the era where I think that after the '82 season was when they traded Ozzie Smith to the Cardinals. They were on the precipice of a very good era. They went to the World Series. They were in 1984. They were National League pennant winners that year. On the back of guys like they had acquired Steve Garvey and Rich Gossage and other folks that were part of that team. The next person we have here is a Red Sox, great Red Sox of the 1980s. That would be Rich Gedman, who was an outstanding catcher for years in the American League. He was the catcher for the 1986 American League champion Red Sox. He is a Worcester native, Worcester, Massachusetts. It should say that on the back of the card. Yes, born in Worcester in 1959, and then had made his home there. And Rich Gedman continues to be part of the Red Sox organization. He was the catcher for the Red Sox AAA. He was the hitting coach for the Red Sox AAA affiliate in Pawtucket, and then a couple of years ago, they moved to his hometown of Worcester. So he is part of the organization, and continues to be part of the organization. As a local guy, gets to live at home. There you go. All right, there's Bob Clark, who is a really nice, and I think a pretty good player for quite a few years. I'm going to skip him, and I'm actually going to skip the next guy who I think I may end up talking about at the end. There is Don Robinson with the Pirates, wearing the great pillbox hat, and looking really happy to be doing it. Pirates, this is a couple of years after their World Series win in 1979. There is Mike Marshall. So Mike Marshall, pitcher for the Mets. Mike Marshall, I believe, and you can see it there, in 1974, he pitched in 106 games, which remains the all-time Major League Baseball record for most appearances in a season by a pitcher. Think about that, 106 games. I can't really do the math in my head because I'm really bad at that. I was an English major, but that's obviously well over half of the Dodgers games that year. And then Mike Marshall, if you read Jeff Passan's book, The Arm, he is a central figure in that book because I believe he went on to be a doctor and worked on people's arms. So there you go. That was Mike Marshall, who has some interesting footnotes in history. There is Dave Revering, who was a good first baseman. He played around a little bit with a few other teams. Terry Pull, we talked about the Astros before. Good player. There is here's Lloyd Mosby. He was a longtime outfielder for the Blue Jays, was there for quite a few years as the Blue Jays sort of go into a good era as the 80s conclude. Glenn Hubbard was a nice player. Second baseman with the Braves. I think he played for a few other teams as well. Looks like he was this was be kind of at the beginning of his career. So I kind of flew through those guys because I wanted to be able to talk about this guy at the very end. So we didn't get any Hall of Famers in this pack, but we did get Fred Lynn, who, if he had stayed with the Red Sox, very possibly would have been a Hall of Famer. So I didn't really get to watch Fred Lynn's career. People know I'm a Red Sox fan. Fred Lynn is somebody who has stayed near and dear to the heart of Red Sox fans for many, many years. He burst onto the scene in 1975. He had an MVP, caliber season, Rookie of the Year caliber season, was an absolute star, helped propel that team to the World Series, part of the sort of incredible trio in the outfield of Jim Rice in left field, him, Fred Lynn in center field, Dwight Evans in right field. Lynn and Evans were absolutely spectacular defensive players, being able to handle the sort of big expansive center field and right field at Fenway Park. And Fred Lynn put together several of the best offensive seasons in Red Sox history, and you see them on the back of this card here. You see 75 hitting .331 with 21 homers. 78, the great offensive year, 22 homers. 79, probably his best season, .333 with 39 homers that year. Didn't strike out a lot. Was it just a really excellent player? Hit .301 the next year. The Red Sox made a grave error in the administration of Haywood Sullivan, not keeping him around and allowing him to go to the Angels. I believe it was while he was with the Angels, he hit a grand slam in the All-Star game in 1982, possibly this year, 1983, one of those years. For a long time, and it may still possibly be the only grand slam ever hit in the All-Star game was hit by Fred Lynn. And he went on, he played also, I believe, with the Orioles, and I think he finished his career with the Tigers. But he never put, if he had continued to stay, like the long time feeling of people of Red Sox fans is that had Fred Lynn stayed with the Red Sox and he had continued to hit in Fenway Park, he very well could have ended up with a Hall of Fame career. It's kind of impossible to say. It is a total supposition. But, he never really put up the numbers going forward the rest of his career that he had put up in Boston. That is not really necessarily his fault. It was the Red Sox front office and ownership that chose not to keep him. But that is a story for another day. Fred Lynn has stuck around the Boston area. He frequents Fenway Park. He's often in what's called the Legend Suite. He is also an excellent presence on social media. I would recommend anybody to give Fred Lynn a follow. And just a really, really top-notch individual, seems like to me. So that is Fred Lynn, and that is this pack of 1982 Fleer. I really want to thank everybody for watching. I do want to take this opportunity, if you're still watching this, to thank everybody for your support of Wax Pack Wisdom in 2023. We started the channel, and we've come a very long way. We've gotten already over 100 subscribers. And we have some big things planned for 2024. We're very excited to have all of you along for the ride. Please, again, if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. I'm going to do the end spiel right now. I'll say it. I'll start by asking, if you just tell us what you thought of this break. What's your favorite card we pulled today? And if you have a story about one of the players in this pack, leave us a comment and let us know. We'd love to hear it. Again, we're always trying to expand our Wax Pack Wisdom. If there's somebody I glossed over, didn't really spend enough time talking about, please let me know. I'd love to hear it in the comments. If you did enjoy this video, we invite you to give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our Wax Pack Wisdom content. In the description of this video, you will find links to where you can follow Wax Pack Wisdom on all social media channels. You'll also find a link to a list of our favorite nonprofits and charities. If you enjoyed this video, please consider a donation to one of those organizations. It would mean a lot to us. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting Wax Pack Wisdom in 2023. We really appreciate it. And we will see you next time here on Wax Pack Wisdom. Take care.